So we don't actually use cloning so much for working on other open source projects. Like if it's controlled by another group on GitHub, you're not going to be able to, most likely you're not going to be able to push up to it. So instead of cloning, what you would want to do in that case is something called forking. Okay, so let's take a look at forking then. And then if we have extra time, I'll show you how to spoon code. That was a joke. Okay, there's no spooning. All right. First I got to find a repository that I know I don't have permission to write to. A popular like open source repository. So I'm gonna go to the upper left-hand corner of the screen here where there's a little search bar, and I'm going to click this little drop-down menu that says this repository, and I'm going to change it to all repositories. I guess if you check this, you can search within your own repository, but I'm interested to search like all repositories on GitHub. Cool. And then we're going to type in Modernizer, which is a popular JavaScript library for adding support to older browsers so that they can support HTML5 and CSS3 features. Okay, so if I go ahead and search for Modernizer, it looks like it comes up as the top result here. It says Modernizer/Modernizer. Notice that on my profile, it has always has my GitHub username before the slash, and then after the slash is my repository name. So same thing for other people's. When I go to Modernizer, it's Modernizer/ and then whatever they chose to name the repository. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and click on this one. So I could clone this if I wanted to, but then I'm kind of limited to just working with it locally. And then if I'm trying to physically like suggest changes to their library, let's say that I am a code genius and I just came up with some better ways to implement this JavaScript library. So what I would want to do if I'm interested to actually submit changes to their repository, instead of cloning it, what I'm going to do instead is something called forking. And I'll show you the difference here. So to fork, we just go to the upper right hand corner here. And you can see there's a little button that says fork. You can see quite a lot of people have actually already forked this repo. It's a popular one. And then we're going to go ahead and click fork. And because I have some other groups that I belong to, I'm going to have to click on my profile, but you shouldn't have to worry about that. And you can see GitHub's fancy animation here. It's actually like copying the Modernizer repository, and look what it did. It actually made a copy of the remote repository Modernizer, and it added it to my remote GitHub profile, which is John Grover. So you can see I have everything they have down here. Okay. So this is cool. Now I can safely make changes to this one, which is like my copy of it, without damaging like the world's copy of Modernizer, right? The developers who maintain Modernizer, they don't want me to go messing it up. So I'm going to make a copy of it using fork as a technique. So again, I forked it, and now that I've forked it, I can clone my fork by going down here to the SSH clone URL. Again, I'm going to click copy to clipboard, and it says it's copied there. We can jump back to terminal. All right, I'm going to cd ... to leave this repository I'm currently in and go back to just my parent folder, which is dev. Okay, and then we're going to clone the fork I made, which is at this URL, johngrover/modernizer, and it is downloading. Cool. And we can see that appeared right here. So we will change directory Modernizer to go into this repository. I can call subl. To bring this up. Okay. And here's their README file. And I'm just going to scroll down and make some type of change. So perhaps I could word this better to help out. I'm going to say synchronous tests should be handled synchronously to improve speed and to maintain consistency. Period. Okay, so I've just reworded that sentence, but you could imagine that we were actually working on the code base itself and we had made some sort of improvement to the code base. So I'm going to go ahead and save this, and then I'm going to jump back over to the terminal. Okay, so we'll go ahead and call get status, and it sees we've modified the README file. So we'll go ahead and stage that file by calling get add, and then we will commit the file, and we'll write a nice message, and we'll say improve grammar in README. Okay, and we'll do a git push up to our master. Okay, excellent. So now we can jump back over to our GitHub, and we're here at my local GitHub profile at my Modernizer repository that I've forked from the original. Here you can see it actually says that it's been forked from the original Modernizer. All right, and if I refresh the page, I should see that change, right? If I go down here to the README file, we should be able to see the sentence that I changed, which is this sentence here: synchronous tests should be handled synchronously for improved speed and to maintain consistency. So if I thought this was an improvement to the code base that's worth sharing with the maintainers of the original repository, what I can do is I can submit a pull request. So I'll show you how to do that. So I can jump back over to the original forked repository here by clicking this link, which is just under mine. Okay, and now that I'm on their page that I had forked from, I'm going to submit a pull request. And the way you submit a pull request is you click this little button on the right hand navigation here that says pull requests. So I'll go ahead and select that. Okay, and then you can submit a new pull request by clicking this green button here, new pull request. So here I'm able to compare different branches in this pull request. And you can see up here it says we're showing branches in this repository, but you can also compare across forks. So I'm going to click this little link here that says compare across forks, like that. All right, so then what I want to do is I want to say I want to compare Modernizer's master branch with John Grover / Modernizer's master branch. Okay, and down here it's going to show what I've changed. So essentially I've changed here. It used to say synchronous tests should be handled synchronously for speed and consistency reasons, and I changed it to synchronous tests should be handled synchronously for improved speed and to maintain consistency. So those are the two differences there, and they can also see this commit will improve grammar in the README. Okay, and whenever I am satisfied with this, what I can do is I can say create pull request. And now I'm able to leave a comment. Okay, so we'll say I updated the sentence to read a little more smoothly. This was also done as a demonstration to teach my students how to submit a pull request. ... So no hard feelings if you do not wish to accept this change. So we're going to be very honest there that this is really just for a demonstration. And then I'm going to send the pull request by clicking this green button here. Okay, so now you can see my pull request is open and there isn't currently a conversation about it, but you know, they may actually decide to go ahead and accept my pull request, or they may deny it. Cool, so I'll report back later if they accepted our pull request or not. That's all for now. Hi, so I just wanted to report back. I was excited to get this email from Patrick Kettner, who is one of the maintainers of the Modernizer library. And it says here, thanks Teach, keep them coming, and he merged in our pull request number 1220. And if you click on that, you can actually bring it up and see the merged pull request and his response. And here you can see that the merge of my pull request from our repo and the commit specifically happened 5 hours ago. So it didn't really take them too much time to get back to us. That's the magic of pull requests and open source software.